Hello and welcome. This practice is yin focused. So what we'll be doing is breaking down postures in a much slower format. We'll be holding our postures for a much longer time in order to dig a little deeper into our connective tissue, into the fascia, so the netting that surrounds our muscles and connects everything, communicates everything together. So what we're focusing on doing in our yin practice is to slow everything down, to get into the body as deeply as we possibly can, to learn as much as we can, and to possibly unravel and unfurl some of those tight muscles deep inside. So I invite you to come down to a seated shape, a cross-legged shape, an easeful seat. So to make this shape more easeful, perhaps you'd like to place something underneath your tail or underneath the bum just to elevate the hips slightly, to feel a little more length, a little more room in the belly, a little more elevation with the hips as well, and a little more length in the spine. So allow yourself to find your seat, take your time, and when you find yourself in a comfortable seat, close your eyes. With the hands on the knees or in the lap, wherever feels most comfortable for you to begin. And just surveying the body, letting the breath flow in and out as it naturally does. And then finding where those little areas of tension are in the body. So on our next inhale, let's take our breath into our upper chest and lift the rib cage as we breathe in. Let's keep that hold and keep that lift. Hold your breath just for a moment. And then as you exhale, bring the belly in toward you and maintain that height in the seat. Relax the shoulders. Trying that again. Inhale through the upper chest, big breath through the ribs. Just hold for one moment to relax the shoulders, and as you exhale, scoop in the belly toward your back body, maintaining the height and releasing the breath. Let's do that one more time, in through the nose, through the upper chest. Let the shoulders relax, scoop the belly in, exhale, keep that height, and notice. Let's take a few breaths here, feeling tall in our seat, perhaps feeling a little bit of effort here. And just a couple more breaths. See if we can relax the hips. Relax those hip flexors a little bit, the crease of the hip. Finding lift in our heart. Pulling in the belly just to engage those abdominals, protecting our back, feeling a little longer in our spine. From our crown to our tail, nice and tall. Feel the weight of the thighs, the weight of the knees and the legs. Feel grounded, planted, and rooted. Feel lifted through our heart, buoyancy through the upper portion of the body. Through the ribs, arms are heavy, we're relaxed here. Let's take a few more breaths here, just visualizing the breath. Let's take the breath in through the nose, feel that little bit of cool air. Going down maybe the palate, the top of the mouth, we might feel a little bit of cool air rush by as the air comes down to the back of the throat. And comes into the lungs. Expanding our rib cage in all directions. And as we take our inhale, we feel ourselves grow, we feel ourselves be really tall. Can we possibly zero in on the sensation of growing outward? So inhale, feel the rib cage expand outward. You may even start to be able to zero in on the back of the body, feeling the breath push toward the back of the body as well. And we'll just take a few more moments here with a little bit of imagination. Just imagine that our rib cage and all the way around the rib cage is like a barrel. So a wooden barrel, an old wooden barrel with all those wooden slats all the way around. And if you've seen a wooden barrel before, an old wooden barrel, the parts that are holding the barrel together are these two metal rings, one at the top and one at the bottom. So it bulges out in the middle portion, and those metal rings are holding the top and the bottom of those slats together in a barrel shape. So inhale, lifting up tall through the rib cage, through the chest. Exhale, pulling the belly in. Our next inhale, imagine that barrel shape as if we were in that barrel, that is our rib cage. And as we inhale, let's try to push outward into those slats, into those wood slats. See if we can expand our barrel. And then exhale, allow the barrel to relax, for those slats to come back in with a little less stress. Next inhale, open up the rib cage. See if we can make little holes of light in between those wood slats. And then as we exhale, those little light slices go away. As the barrel gets drawn back together, the wood de-swells. Inhale, let's open up even more, make even more space in between those wooden slats. Let the light come in between those pieces of wood. Stretch out as much as you can and hold that breath, hold that inhale right at the top. Squeezing out, the wood is feeling super stressed. We have all of this beautiful light pouring in between each piece of wood. Exhale, let it draw back together. The wood is becoming really weak. We're becoming a lot stronger. The next inhale, open up the rib cage, pull open, push against the wood, and perhaps we notice pieces are flying off, and maybe the pieces of metal holding the parts of the top of the barrel and the bottom of the barrel have fallen off. And then all of a sudden, all of the wood falls open, and we're open, and we have this spacious breath. Inhale through the nose, just breathe in as much as you can. And exhale, let it go, maybe through the mouth. Let's take up our space in through the nose. Let it out through the mouth. Feel spacious, roomy, a little bit more expansive. And then as we take our next inhale, open the arms up all the way to the ceiling. Open the eyes, look up toward those hands. Kiss the palms together and draw them down to the heart center on your exhale. Let's do a couple more sun breaths. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bring it down to heart. One more, open those arms, reach. Feel expansive, exhale to heart. Wonderful, close the eyes with our hands at heart center. Let's bring the chin down toward the chest. Drop the neck, drop the head. And press those palms together. Let the shoulders relax down. Feel a little bit of energetic movement through our upper body, through our shoulders. Letting the head relax down, feeling a gentle stretch through the back of the neck. One more nice big breath here. Wonderful. Bringing our gaze up to the ceiling, scooping our arms up in a big sun breath again. Reach up, look up. Exhale, kiss those hands together, draw them down to our heart center. Beautiful. Release the hands by our sides and just take a moment here maybe to shift the weight a little bit from side to side. Notice how you're feeling here. Perhaps a little bit of circling might feel good. Beautiful. Let's separate our legs a little bit here. Bring the soles of our feet to touch, coming into a butterfly shape or a bound ankle shape. Give yourself lots of room. If you'd like to bring the heels nice and far away from the pelvis, feel free to bring them nice and far. If you like them closer in, if you need a little more stretch in the hips, feel free to bring them a little bit closer. So what we're going to try to do here is zipper our toes together. So first I'm going to have I'm going to try to fashion myself so my left big toe is on the top, bring my right big toe under, and then just continue down, weaving your toes together. And it may take a lot of manual movement to do that, so use the hands as much as you need to weave your toes together, to kind of zipper them together. And take a couple extra moments of care to get them zippered up as best you can zipper them. There we go. So zippering them one way, the left big toe on the top to start. We'll interlace the fingers, bring them down to those interlaced toes, squeeze those toes together, cozy them together, and we'll just start to lengthen out the arms, send the chest forward, tilt the tail behind you, bring the heart forward, the chin lifts. Take a great big inhale here. Shoulders away from ears. And then as we exhale, let's press the back of our body, the back of our spine to the back of the room, round ourselves in and tuck the chin in toward the chest. Beautiful. Inhale, bring it forward, tilt the tail behind you. Use a little bit of pull so you can tilt the tail with the hands, lift the chin and chest. Exhale, round yourself back in. Let those arms be nice and long and just kind of use them as a little sling. Inhale, drawing forward. And exhale, rounding back. Take your time here. Let's go for just a few more. Inhale, rolling past our little pelvis, tilting the tail, and then rolling the pelvis back forward. Inhale, drawing yourself up, lifting the chest and chin, the heart to the ceiling, to the sky. Then exhale to round yourself back. Let's do a couple more together. We're just rocking forward and rocking back. One more, rocking forward, tilting the tail. Use the hands a little bit if you need to. And rocking back. Use the arms as a little sling to support. Beautiful. Back toward the center. We're going to try to unzipper the toes and zipper them the other way. So the right toe is going to be on top, the left big toe underneath. And then just take your time to zipper your toes one at a time the other way. Same thing here, interlacing the fingers, placing our palms on top of those zippered toes, linking those hands and just creating long arms here. Send our chest forward, lift the chin, take your inhale. You know what to do here now. Then exhale, round yourself back. Long arms, use them as a support. Inhale, tilting the tail back. Feeling the rotation in the hips as we move back and forward. Take your time at whatever pace feels right for you. Inhale forward and exhale back. You may reverse the inhales and exhales if it feels better for you. Maybe we exhale as we come forward. Maybe we inhale into the back body, into that curve. Let's do a couple more. Just play with the breath. Maybe it feels best to expand the chest on the inhale and round back on the exhale. Let's do one more if we're going together. Do two more if you need it. Rounding back. Beautiful. Making your way back to a neutral spine when you're finished your flow. Let's unzipper our toes. Wiggle those toes a little bit. Let's open our feet like a book. Give yourself a little push on those toes, a little massage, a little squeeze. And squeeze those toes. Beautiful. Let's close our knees like a book and come back to that cross-legged seat. If we crossed one foot in front and one behind, I encourage you just to reverse that move or reverse that shape so that we can kind of balance ourselves out a little bit. Also, it's kind of neat to change things. If it's a habit for you to have, say, the right foot forward, which it is for me, trying to put it the other way can kind of play a little bit in the brain with your left and right, sort of intermingling and strengthening that communication between both sides as well, and creating a lot of strength on both areas, both hemispheres. Coming into our seated shape again, close the eyes, take a nice big breath in, and exhale, let it go. Inhale, arms up, eyes open, look up to those fingers, kiss the palms together, watch them come down to the heart center on the exhale. Beautiful, one more time, inhale, look up. Exhale, bring the gaze down. Wonderful. Let's take our little fingertips, place them on the cusp of our shoulder caps, and we'll just start to draw circles with the shoulders. So we'll let our elbows drop down, let our fingertips just touch, and let those arms be heavy. Just going to bring the shoulders right up to the bottoms of the earlobes. So squeeze them up here. And then start to send them forward. If you'd like to send the elbows forward, if that helps you, bring them forward too. And then dropping them down. And then pulling them back behind you. So maybe also using the elbows to do that too. So let's come up toward the ears. Roll ourselves forward and down. And then back. Beautiful. Up, forward, down, and back. And just a couple more times. Up, forward, down, and back. Beautiful. Just a couple more times until you feel like you've made enough circling in this direction, and then we'll change directions. Again, just relaxing those arms, bringing the shoulders up toward the ears. Let's bring those elbows back, shoulders back, open up the chest, down, forward, and up, back, down, forward, and up. And just kind of take some time to identify and notice any little points that make you stop that circle or kind of change the shape of the circle. Maybe a little sticky part in your circling, a little bit of tension, something to work out. And just take a moment to notice. Beautiful. Release those hands by our sides. Take a moment to roll them freely without those hands. Let's take a moment to roll. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and just bring our arms in front of ourselves. Nice long arms, so really nice tall spine, just like we have been in our seated shape. And then just start to walk ourselves forward a couple inches, pressing into those fingers, tilting the tail back, sending the heart forward, finding a nice long spine, and then just continue to walk yourself forward. Little bit by little bit. Inch by inch, pressing into those fingertips, tilt the tail back, and let yourself round down as much as you need to, coming into a nice little fold forward. Maybe on the forearms, maybe on the fingertips. Maybe we continue to walk those hands far away, and maybe the elbows are raised off of the ground. And then if we'd like to, in that position, getting a grip of our mat or a grip of the ground and just pushing away from ourselves. So finding those grips in our hands and our finger pads and in our heels of our hands, just pushing the ground away from you. Breathing into the back body. Tucking the chin in if that feels nice for you, using the weight of the head to your advantage. It's roughly 8 to 12 pounds, so it's kind of like a little, I like to say a little kettlebell sitting on your head, sitting on your neck and shoulders. So maybe utilizing that 8 to 12 pound weight to kind of stretch out long muscles in the back, long muscles in the neck. And if it feels nice to you, release the elbows and just let yourself dangle forward, rounding the spine as much as you need to. Beautiful. Next, inhale, start to walk the hands toward you, coming back up into our seated shape here. Wonderful. Going back into a comfortable seat, so if you need to readjust yourself, feel free to do that. Sitting up nice and tall, perhaps closing the eyes if that serves you, and just letting our left ear fall to our left shoulder. Relaxing the right shoulder as much as possible. And just pointing the nose down toward the left knee in that direction. Looking down slightly toward the ground. And drawing the chin toward the chest. Let the head hang nice and heavy here. Inhale through the rib cage to be nice and tall in our seat. Exhale to bring the belly in toward the bottom of the rib cage, toward the spine to maintain the height. And then let our right ear fall over to the right shoulder. Starting to point the nose toward our right knee or looking down slightly toward the ground. And then the chin in toward the chest. And just relax the head. Super heavy. Inhale through the upper chest, nice and tall. Exhale the belly in. Let the shoulders relax. As we inhale, scooping the arms up, have a look up toward those hands. And exhale through the heart center. Wonderful. Start to come forward, walking ourselves into an all fours shape. Turning myself around so you can see me a little bit better here. Coming into all fours, a tabletop, our wrists under shoulders and our knees under hips. Swaying the hips a little bit side to side. Stretching into the wrists, maybe lean a little bit forward. We could lean over to the right. Lean over to the left. And come back to neutral here. Tucking the toes, zipping the knees together and the thighs together. Tucking the toes and walking ourselves back into a heel sit. So take a moment to feel it out. This is not a position that most of us take every day or very often. I've heard in North America they call this fire toe. So I think there's probably an indicator there that it's a little bit challenging or a little bit heated in your feet. I take this shape quite often. I love to focus on my feet and the mobility of feet. Creating a lot more strength in the feet, I think, is really important for me personally. So if you are into that idea, I really encourage you to find that tuck in the toe so we can kind of sit our hips down on top of those heels, and it feels somewhat comfortable once you find that comfortability, but once you practice it a little more, it'll feel a little more comfortable. So untuck the toes whenever you need to, but let's just take a moment and some challenge to try to sit on our toes. Closing the eyes. And again, just a nice tall spine. Inhale through the upper chest. Exhale, the belly comes in. We just feel soft in the shoulders. We feel really tall. We're engaging a little bit of the abdominals here. And just really stretching out our toes. Beautiful. Notice those little bones in the feet, the spread of the toes. Feel the point and the ball of the foot, the connection of the ball of the foot, the connection between our heels or the back of our feet or Achilles tendon with our hips or bum or behind. And just notice as we stay here for a couple more breaths, you feel that muscle and the padding of the feet kind of spread and start to balance. Maybe we feel a little bit of lactic acid building up in the toes, right where it's bent. Maybe we might feel a little bit in the ankles. Wonderful. Let's walk ourselves back into an all fours shape, untuck those toes, and start to just paddle on tops of the feet. Just to get rid of a little bit of tension. And then we'll go back to our toe tuck. So take enough time that you need to tap out those feet. And then we'll go ahead and tuck those toes and come on back. So again, wiggling it out here, feeling the spread of the toes, feeling the ball of the foot, and feeling the connection of our sit bones on the back of our feet, the heels. Nice and tall. Inhale through the upper chest. Exhale to scoop the belly in. Feel a little integrity here, a little bit of shape, a little bit of effort. Beautiful. Arms come up, big reach, big sun breath. Exhale, hands to heart center. Wonderful. Arms come up, big, tall reach. Bending into our right elbow, placing the fingertips just in the center of our shoulder blades. Reaching and bending our left elbow, reaching with our left hand to the right elbow. Beautiful. So what we're doing here now is lifting up in through the rib cage, pointing our right elbow toward the ceiling, giving it a little pull with the left hand. Bring the belly in on the exhale, feel nice and tall here. Maybe close the eyes if that feels comfortable for you or nice for you, or if it creates a little more focus for you. Lifting up through the rib cage. Nice big breath. Lifting up on the next inhale through the upper chest. And then taking a little bend over to the left side. So we're just opening up the tricep, the arm, the lower half of the arm on the right arm. A little bit of opening on the rib cage in the right side. Try to keep the hips as balanced or as back to the original position as possible as you bend a little more over to the left side. And we'll take a nice good 3 breaths here. In through the nose, out through the nose, 1 more. Beautiful. Let's go back to center. Release the hands all the way up to the ceiling and bring them down to the heart center on the exhale. Take a moment maybe to roll the shoulders if that feels nice for you, if you need that as well. And then we'll bring the arms back up again, big tall reach. Exhale, hands to heart. Big tall reach with those hands. Bending the left elbow this time, bringing the hand in the center of the shoulder blades, the fingertips. Bending through our right elbow to grab onto the left elbow with the right hand. Reaching up with the inhale through the rib cage. Reaching up through that right elbow. Pulling the belly in on the exhale. Untuck the toes if you need to. Keep them tucked if it feels okay for you. Nice, good stretch, no pain. Maybe a little discomfort, maybe a lot of discomfort, but maybe just a little discomfort where we can find an edge here. We can breathe into that difficulty. Let's inhale, lifting that rib cage, and then just starting to lean over to the right side. Keep the hips exactly where they are. Keep the weight equal in our heels, so our hips sitting on our heels, nice and equal pressure. Equal in the knees, equal in the balls of the feet. Lifting the rib cage on the inhale to maybe hinge a little more on the right side. Feeling really open on the left side of the body. Beautiful, just a couple more breaths here. 1 more. And back toward the center, lift both arms up to the ceiling and exhale, hands to heart. Give yourself a little roll in the shoulders. Let's walk ourselves back into an all fours, a tabletop. Release those toes if we haven't already and give them a little paddle. Maybe 1 more time. Beautiful. Let's go back to our toe sit. Walk the fingertips back to the heels. Just 1 more arm variation on each side, and then we'll come off of our fire toe, off of our heel sit, I promise. Let's bring the arms up with us, big reach. Exhale, hands to heart center. Bring our arms straight out in front of ourselves. The left arm wrapping underneath the right, all the way around, and perhaps bringing the fingers to touch on the right hand. If this is a little bit too loopy for you, perhaps just crossing the arms and holding onto your shoulders and holding onto the shoulder blades. Just making sure that our elbows stay at our shoulder height as well. So it's up to you in which variation you'd like to take, which one you need today, and which one feels right for you today. So we're going to focus on also pressing the elbows away from you. Even if the arms are wrapped around, you're just bringing those shoulders away from one another, feeling some space in the back body. So let's press our elbows away, bring them up a little bit to shoulder height, and squeeze those arms together. So if they are intermingled here, just squeeze them together. Wonderful. Let's take a few breaths here, a little bit of time. Push the elbows away from you. Maybe close the eyes, just to get rid of a few distractions around you, to come into your own experience. Maybe we feel the shoulders enough that we've forgotten about our toes. Maybe not. Feel free again to untuck them at any time. You can sit on the tops of the feet if that feels better for you. Press those elbows away. Bring them as high as our shoulders. And then on our last inhale for this hold, send our elbows up toward the sky. Inhale through the upper chest, send our tail back. Let's go into a little back bend here and hold for 1 full breath. Next, inhale or exhale, draw the elbows back down, unwrap those arms, and roll the shoulders a couple times. Again, we'll walk ourselves forward, take a little paddle if you need to. Maybe one more time. A little wag of our feet, wag of the tail. And then one last time, let's tuck those toes or press into the tops of the feet if you prefer to sit on top of the feet. So it just looks like this. If we'd like to challenge ourselves a little bit, let's keep on those tucked toes. Feel again the balance on each side. Feel the balls of the feet and those toes spread to help you stay balanced and create a wider base. Beautiful. Arms come up, big sun breath. And hands to heart center. Bring the arms straight out front, this time bringing the left arm underneath the right. Bringing those elbows up to shoulder height and pressing those elbows away from you. Beautiful. You can also take that other variation, crossing the arms, just having our hands cupped here. I feel like I went the other way. So if you went the other way, I think I went the other way. So we'll bring the right arm under the left. If it feels a little bit funky, I might have guided you into the opposite direction. So pressing our elbows away from ourselves, away from our chest. Inhale through the upper chest, nice and tall. It's pretty often I confuse my left and rights. But you can always feel it. If it doesn't feel balanced, you'll feel it. Beautiful. Our next inhale, breathe into the upper ribs, upper chest, send the elbows up, gaze up a little bit, send the tail back behind, just one breath. And then inhale or exhale back toward the center, unravel those arms, roll the shoulders, let's walk ourselves forward. Untuck those toes, take a moment, separate the knees to about hip width, and maybe give a little paddle if that serves you, if that helps for you. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and walk the knees a little bit farther back, walk the hands a little bit farther forward, and come onto our tummies. So all the way down to our bellies, using our chaturanga to get there, or however you like to get there. And just finding those hands underneath the shoulders to begin with, zipping our elbows in toward our shoulders, so toward the midline of the body. Then just drag those hands back a little bit, more in line with our upper rib cage. Pressing into those palms, nice and separate fingers. Pressing in, let's start to press into the tops of the feet. Pull the mat toward you as you start to lift the chest, lift the chin, and the gaze. Just as far as you like to in a back bend here, pressing into the tops of the feet. And then start to glide yourself back down. Tucking the chin into chest, touch the forehead down toward the ground, and maybe press the forehead down slightly. Beautiful. Inhale, bring the gaze all the way up to your cobra shape, however far you'd like to go up. And then exhale, round yourself back down. Tuck the chin in and maybe touch the forehead down, pressing into the ground a little bit. Beautiful. Let's bring ourselves back up and then set ourselves up on our elbows. So we bring those elbows underneath our shoulders. Bringing our forearms and palms about shoulder width apart. Pressing into our palms, pressing into the elbows to lift the chest up high, to let lots of space come into the neck. So we're going to lengthen out that neck by pushing the elbows down toward the ground. Find a grip with the hands, a grip with our elbows. Just kind of pull the mat apart a little bit and perhaps pull it toward you at the same time. So kind of tearing it apart a little bit and also drawing the chest forward. As much as you'd like to, as much as you need to. Close the eyes, keep the long neck, so still pressing slightly into the elbows to maintain the height. You can start to relax a little bit through the lower half of the body if you'd like to, especially those toes and the feet. I'm sure it's an easy task to relax those feet at this point. Let's just stay here for a little bit longer. You can change the sensation. You can start to pull the mat apart a little bit. Pull it toward yourself as well. Maybe you feel a little sensation in the wrist here. And just a couple more long yogi breaths. On our next inhale or exhale, it's up to you. Just take your time. If your eyes are open or closed, maybe opening them to see where you're at. Splaying open the palms, pointing the fingertips to the middle fingers, I guess. That'll be the easiest way. Pointing the middle fingers to the edges of our yoga mats, just kind of widening out those hands a little bit, keeping the elbows where they are. Pressing the mat away from you, lifting the elbows up. Press into the tops of the feet to support a little bit here. Just a slight little push into those feet, pushing those palms away from yourself, feeling a little bit more of a back bend. If you feel like those shoulders are creeping up to the ears, let's just create that length in the neck. Bring those shoulders away from the ears. Feel a little more through the center of the spine or through the center of our muscles surrounding our spine. Close the eyes if that feels nice. Pressing into the pads of the fingers, perhaps to get a different sensation in the forearms. And stay here for a little while, feeling the ground or the rooting through our pelvis here. Feeling length through our legs. They can grow away from our root. Imagine that we're connected to the earth through our pelvis, through our hips. And everything else is growing up from that spot. So our legs are like roots growing across the ground. I forget what those plants are called that have those roots, like thyme and mint and plants like that grow across the ground, and they can just develop roots by touching the earth or touching the soil. They start to glue against the ground and just create runners. So imagine yourself being a runner through your legs. You're creating roots, gluing down, feeling our quads touching, feeling the tops of the feet touch, feeling our palms, our fingers. Maybe our trunk is a great big root, lifting up away from the ground. One more great big breath here. Connection, just visualize that connection. And slowly coming down to those elbows, bringing them in underneath the shoulders, bringing the hands back into elbow width, and we'll take a moment in our Sphinx shape, so in the shape we did before. Relax the lower half of the body slightly. Push into the elbows just to feel a little height, feel some height in the neck, some length in the neck. Beautiful. Let's lower ourselves all the way down. Bring our forearms parallel to the mat and just rest our forehead or chin onto the backs of the hands. Let's take a nice deep breath here. And we can stay rested with our chin or forehead on the backs of the hands if that feels nice for you, or rest the face on the ground. Just going to start to separate the legs nice and wide. And see if you can turn the toes outward, the heels in and the toes out, coming into, I guess they would call it a relaxed crocodile pose. So we're finding some internal or some external rotation with the feet. Feeling some external rotation in the hips. And hopefully we're able to feel it all the way up into our hips. If you need to take a lot of room, if you find that the toes still come up here, find more space. Take as much room as you possibly need to spread open those feet. And then just rest and take a few breaths here in rest. Maybe we close the eyes, maybe we just rest here. Beautiful. Just one more nice slow breath. Bringing our palms back underneath the shoulders. Give yourself a little stability here. Zipper the elbows in toward you. Walk the feet into the tops of the feet. Let's go ahead and press into those palms, lift ourselves up, tuck the toes, and come up and back to a downward dog shape. So let's just lengthen out the low back a little bit here, lengthen out the spine a little bit, press into the finger pads and also the padded part of the hands. Stretching out the backs of the legs here. Nice long arms. Let's inhale through the upper chest. Exhale, the belly comes in. Maybe we tilt the tail a little bit more, pressing the heels away from you to feel length in the backs of the legs. And let's stay for a couple breaths here just to feel a little difference, being up a little higher, getting rid of any kind of stagnancy that we may feel. Beautiful. Gliding ourselves forward, let's pick up our right leg, bend the knee, and glide that knee to the back of the right wrist, coming into pigeon pose on the right side. So we'll untuck the right set of toes and just start to wiggle that leg back a little bit. See if you can lean back into that leg, finding our wrists shoulder width apart, and just pressing into those palms, nice long arms, just sending the chest forward, lifting and breathing into the upper chest. And exhale, the belly comes in. We feel that pull away from the hip bones, a little more space in the belly. And just take another couple breaths here. And then maybe the next inhale, we lift into the rib cage. Exhale to pull the belly in, and perhaps we come down onto the forearms. Lifting and breathing in through the upper chest. Exhale, the belly comes in. We feel a little more space, a little more hinge in the right hip, a little more sinking down toward the ground. Just a couple more breaths in this shape. On the forearms, elbows underneath the shoulders. Inhale, upper chest. And exhale, pull the belly in. Feel the hinge. Let yourself sink down. Maybe walking the hands a little bit farther away from you to feel yourself sink down even more. Inhale through the upper chest. Exhale, pull the belly in, hinge down through the hip, come down all the way as low as you're able to. Rest the forehead down. Staying here for a little bit of time. Still inhale through that upper chest. Exhale, just pull the belly in a little bit toward you. See if you can find a little more hinge, a little more fold. Walk those hands away from you as much as you like to. Maybe pressing the ground away from you to hinge a little more to help out with the fold in the hip. And we'll take 3 more breaths here. One more. Inhale, upper chest. Exhale, belly in, hinge. Then inhale, start to walk those hands back toward you, or walk back up onto the palms if we came down to the forearms. Let's go ahead and start to tuck into our left toes. Bring ourselves up and back to downward dog. Pedal it out a little bit and just notice, take a little bit of time to notice the difference in the right side and the left side. Maybe bend the knees and sway the hips. Tilt the tail. Press the heels away from you, away from your hips to feel length. And let's bring ourselves forward and do our pigeon on the left side. So let's pick up our left leg, bring the left knee to the back of the left wrist. Set the right knee down and start to walk it back behind yourself. If there's lots of room. I always have lots and lots of room. So finding that leg lengthened behind you, pressing into the top of the feet, support your knees if you need to. And then we'll take some time here, wiggle the hips a little bit, sway yourself if you need to. And we'll take a breath in through the upper chest. Exhale to pull the belly in and just feel that length, that belly stretch from our hip to the ribs. Inhale again. Exhale, belly in. Feel a little bit softer in the hips. And then decide where you'd like to go here. Inhale and coming down to the forearms on the exhale, pulling the belly in. And we'll take a little time on the forearms, or the whole time on the forearms. Inhale, upper chest. Exhale, belly in. See if you can feel the hinge. A little bit more fold. And keep breathing just that way, in through the upper chest. Exhale, belly in. Maybe let yourself fall down a little deeper. If you find you have a little more room, feel free to walk those hands forward. Maybe bringing the forehead down toward the ground or supporting the forehead with the hands. Inhale. Exhale, belly in. Inhale. Exhale, belly in. Feel the fold. We'll stay here for a few more breaths. Maybe there's somewhere to give in a little. Maybe the exhale can help you here. Feel the heaviness in our hips, in our belly. Give in to the fold. One more breath. Wonderful. Start to walk ourselves back up. Take your time. Find those wrists under shoulders or closest to under shoulders as you can get. We'll go ahead and tuck the back toes or right set of toes to lift up the knee and step back to downward dog. Sway the hips, take a moment for yourself. Survey the body, investigate, notice what there is to notice. Press the heels away from the hips, find some length and notice hopefully a more matching sensation, matching feeling in each side of the body, each side of the leg. Beautiful, bringing our knees down. And bringing the knees to the side, coming back into a seated shape. So coming into a little bit more of a hip seated shape. So what we're going to do here is extend the legs to the front of the body. I'm going to go ahead and bend through the right knee and bring the foot over toward the side of the left side of the leg. Shifting our weight over to the left, bending through the left knee and scooping it around. So if this is not the right position for you, feel free to keep the left leg long and just pull in the right leg. That's up to you. But if you'd like to come in to a little more of a hip opening, I encourage you to start to tuck the right leg back. Find our knees somewhat stacked on top of one another and just find a good balance in the hips. So shift your weight a little bit to find the balance in the hips. Again, shift yourself around if this isn't the right shape for you. If you find you can't sit in here for a minute or so, feel free to change the shape. You can also take that right leg and plant the foot. That's up to you. So let's take a moment, close the eyes, find some balance in our hips. Bring our arms up with us, big sun breath. Exhale, hands toward the center of the chest. Bring the arms out front. Let's go ahead and bring our left arm underneath the right arm, scooping around, finding those eagle arms or holding onto shoulders. Making sure the elbows are nice and high, and press the elbows away from you to broaden out the back of the body. Big inhale through the nose and out through the nose. Pressing those elbows forward, hinging from the hips, and allowing yourselves to fold forward, bringing the elbows toward the knees. And if this is enough, stay here. If we'd like to unravel the arms and bring them out front, bringing the chest down toward the knees or the thigh down toward the chest, allow yourself to fold all the way in that way. And we'll spend just a little bit of time here. Letting the head hang really heavy. Maybe the arms are extended, maybe they're tucked in toward the body. And if we've released the arms, let's bring them back into an eagle shape. So perhaps holding our shoulders or bringing the elbows back down toward the knees. Let's inhale, bring the elbows up into the sky. Send the heart up toward the ceiling, big reach. And exhale, draw ourselves down, elbows toward the knees. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, elbows up toward the ceiling. Heart forward, exhale, rounding. And drawing the elbows back down to the knees. 1 more time. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, drawing down. Coming back to neutral, unraveling those arms. Unraveling the legs. So let's manually lean ourselves over to bring the left leg out. And then we'll go ahead and cross the other way. So let's bring our left leg over the right. If that leg extended feels perfect, keep it there. If we'd like to lean to the right, to scoop that leg around, feel free to do that. Lots of different variations. The left foot can be planted just like this. We can be up nice and tall. Or we can start to stack the knees on top of one another, kind of splaying our feet out a little bit. Kind of looks like a little tail. Sitting up nice and tall in through the upper chest, scoop the belly in to feel some height here, to feel a little bit more in that left hip. Arms reach up, big sun breath. Exhale, hands toward the center of the chest. Beautiful. Arms forward, this time bringing our left arm over the right underneath. Let's find our fingers on the palm. And if this isn't serving you, again, finding a different variation. Elbows come up. Press the elbows away from you. Inhale, upper chest. Breathe to get tall. Exhale, scoop the belly in. So let's take some time here. Take a breath. Inhale to get nice and tall. And then exhale, perhaps hinging ourselves forward, bringing the elbows toward the knees. Touching them down, taking a moment, staying here if this serves you well. If we'd like to hinge a little deeper, releasing the arms, unravel those arms, we'll bring our belly down toward our thigh and fold ourselves forward. You can release the hands long, you can keep them tucked in a little bit, but we'll take a few moments in this shape.
And just another couple breaths here. If we release the arms, bringing them back into an eagle shape, crossing those arms, holding onto shoulders, or wrapping the forearms around. And inhale, drawing those elbows up toward the sky, the heart up toward the ceiling as well. Big breath. And exhale, rounding yourself in, drawing the elbows toward the knees. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, rounding through. One more time. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, rounding through. Coming back to neutral, unraveling those arms however we raveled them, unravel the legs however we raveled them, and come into a nice easy seat, kissing the soles of the feet together, interlacing the fingers to the base of the toes. We don't have to zipper our toes this time, and just making a few circles around with our hips. Just a couple times, and then we'll come onto our backs. Let's close our knees like a book and come onto our backs. Bring the knees to chest just for a breath or two. Rounding our back, hugging those knees in, maybe rocking side to side. Maybe letting go completely and just rocking those knees. Beautiful. Set our feet down with our knees bent. Walk the feet as wide as the yoga mat is, or as wide as you believe your yoga mat would be if you don't have one. We'll let the knees fall over to the left side, all the way over to the left side. Now noticing where our legs are, the knees are pointed to the left. Our left foot is likely close to the top of our right knee. So what we'd like to do here to create a little more of a twist, a little more of a release in the hips, lifting up the left foot and setting it on the outside of the right leg. Maybe the knee, avoiding the actual knee, but maybe the thigh or that little triangle in between. So letting the weight of the leg fall on top of the right leg. Maybe finding the ankle just on the thigh, the left ankle on top. Relaxing the arms and maybe looking in the opposite direction of the knees toward the right side. Breathe through the low belly. See if you can expand and kind of balloon the breath. And just one more breath here. Letting our right hip become very heavy. And then pressing on the inside of the right foot to bring the legs up. So the left ankle is on the right thigh. And then let's allow that little frame that we've created to fall over to the right side. So our left foot will touch down on the ground and hopefully be hooked by our right thigh. Feel free to move a little if you need a little bit of the grip of our yoga mat. And then again, maybe we look in the left direction this time, in the opposite direction of our twist. Relaxing the arms wherever feels nice for you. And let the hips be nice and heavy here. Working our way into our final relaxation, our Shavasana. Wonderful. Pressing onto the outside of the right foot to bring the legs back up. Let's uncross and walk the feet wide like we did before. Let the knees, fall over to the right side, so all the way over. So the right foot is close to our left thigh or the left knee. Let's pick up our right foot and place it on top of the left thigh. Just like we did on the other side, kind of pinning it down with the weight of the leg. And maybe looking to the left, in the opposite direction of our twist. And just one more nice big breath here. Pressing into the inside of the left foot to bring the legs up so that hopefully our right ankle is across our left thigh, and then letting the legs fall over to the left side, touching the ground with the right foot. And again, if you'd like to wiggle yourself a little bit to find some grip of the mat, feel free to wiggle around, finding the right foot on the ground. And then we can look in the opposite direction, maybe toward the right. And just a couple breaths here. And our counter twist. One more breath, feeling heavy. Pressing into the outside of the left foot. Let's bring the legs back up. We'll take the right leg off, bring the legs nice and wide, just windshield wipe a couple times side to side. And then find whatever you need for Shavasana, whatever you like to relax. Perhaps some blocks or blankets or pillows. Maybe you're a cuddly furry animal, bring it close. Maybe some stuffed animals, whatever. Finding a nice comfortable space. So let's extend the legs nice and long. If we do feel a little tension in the low back, you can feel free to keep the knees bent, tent them together. Otherwise, let's send the legs out long. Point our toes outward, externally rotating our hips and our legs. Bring our arms along our side. Point the palms up toward the ceiling and let the thumbs roll away from you. Tuck the shoulders under if that helps. Feeling lots of space in the upper chest to breathe, lots of space in the heart, lots of space in the pelvis. And I invite you to close your eyes if that's something that serves you right now. It also helps kind of take away whatever's going on around you so you can delve a little deeper into how you feel and what you're experiencing. Let's come back to the breath. Simple inhales and exhales. We busted through our barrel of breath, so now we have all the space in the world to breathe. We have space around our bodies where we think our body ends, and we have all the room inside our body to breathe. Let's lay here in the peace that you've created in every cell of the body, swimming around, a buoyancy in our circulation, in our heart, and in our minds. And I promise I'll bring you back when it's time to come back. Stay exactly where you are. And just notice the parts of the body that are touching the earth. All those spots rooted down. Just think about ourselves as that little plant again, maybe that little sprig of thyme, growing across the ground with our long little legs and our long reaches and our long branches, and just crawling across the ground. And all the parts that are touching the ground begin to develop roots and grasp onto the earth. Just like our body, maybe the backs of the knuckles, maybe the backs of the ankles, the calves, the hips, the shoulder blades, the back of the head, developing roots, becoming more and more connected to the earth beneath us, becoming more and more connected to the earth around us, feeling the air against our skin, that flow of breath that also comes from the external world, flushing through the body and releasing out again. Let's take a big breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Circulate that air, bring in the external air in through the nose and out through the mouth. Start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Let's pull the knuckles off the ground, pull those roots out of the ground, pull the lower arm bones out of the ground, pull the elbows off of the ground, lift the arms up over the head toward the crown of the head, reaching our branches, our new growth. Reach and pull those ankles off of the ground, pull those roots up. Pull the calf roots off the ground and just reach those toes and fingers away from one another. And then as we exhale, let's bring our big legs toward our arms and wrap ourselves around in a little ball. Roll ourselves over to the right side of the body. Use the right arm as a little pillow for your landing, for your head, for a little landing pad. And just take a couple breaths here, rested in our most familiar, our most nostalgic shape. Peaceful, familiar, lovely. Extending the left leg, pressing into the left palm, coming back up to a seated shape. A nice, easeful seat. And sitting up nice and tall, lifting up through the ribs on your breath. Revisiting the seat and noticing if the seat feels any easier, any more comfortable, easeful, peaceful. I invite you to place one of your hands on your heart and one on your belly and spread those fingers as wide as you possibly can, touching as much of your heart and your torso and your core as possible. Let's take a really big breath in. And exhale. My heart is at ease, knowing what's meant for me will not pass me by, and what passes me by was not meant for me. Let's bring our arms up in a big sun breath, kiss those palms together, and exhale, hands to the heart center. The love and the light in me honors the love and the light in you. Namaste.